Hello, my name is Armando Zaguirre, and today I will be arguing against the legalization of psychedelics in the United States. Now, to begin my first refutation, my opponent argues that psychedelics can help patients with mental illnesses such as depression, anxiety, and PTSD. Now, this actually isn't always the case due to the phenomenon named the bad trip. Now, to further explain what a bad trip is, I will be using text from the article which is named What Are Psychedelics by adf.org.au. Now, in the article it states, sometimes you can experience a bad trip, which is frightening and disturbing hallucinations, which leads to panic and unpredictable behaviors, such as running across the road or attempting suicide. Now, due to the actions of bad trips, such as running across the road or attempting suicide, this cannot be brushed off. Many Americans would suffer instant consequences from the bad trips effects. Now, bad trips can happen if you take too much of it or if you're a first-time user. And psychedelics are very hard to predict how much you've taken. Now, this also contradicts what my opponent argues that psychedelics will help mental patient illness with therapeutic effects. It's truly a 50-50 risk. At times, the psychedelics can help them be calm and relieved, but at other times, it could cause frightening and disturbing hallucinations and will lead them to panic and unpredictable behavior, which is absolutely something you do not want a mental illness patient to, happen to them. Now, this is clear to any American out there that with the legalization of psychedelics, the risk of a bad trip is not one worth to take and should be avoided at all costs. Now, to begin my second refutation, my opponent has also argued that the legalization of hallucinogens will actually not lead to an increase of use in young adults. Now, with statistical data, it actually proves the opposite of what my opponent argues. As in the article by the International Institute of Health, it states, hallucinogens in the past year reported from young adults 19 to 30, it's increased significantly in use compared to the last 5 to 10 years. Now, with this in mind, this absolutely contradicts on what my opponent argues that hallucinogens will not lead to an increase of use in young adults. Young adults actually did use hallucinogens when Oregon began its legalization of psychedelics for therapeutic use. Although my opponent is correct on one thing, where generalized drugs such as marijuana, for example, did not lead to an increase of use in young adults, or did not lead to a dramatic increase, it will lead to a dramatic increase when it comes to hallucinogens due to the evidence provided from the National Institute of Health. Now, with this in mind, it is truly unclear if you could trust my opponent with their statistical data because they are using generalized statistics, not specific statistics about hallucinogens. Now, to actually begin my first argument, the short-term use of psychedelics have been researched and have been proven to cause therapeutic effects more than harmful effects. But it still is unclear about the long-term effects of hallucinogens with Americans, or anyone, for example. Now, in the text named Long-Term Effects of Drugs, of Psychedelic Drugs, a systemic review by the National Library of Medicine, it states, questions remain on subsequent lasting effects. Individuals began monitoring sustained change, but no study to date has synthesized info. Now, due to this, it is clear the risk of using psychedelics for not only mental illness patients, but to anyone as a whole. Research on the therapeutic effects have been done. Yes, it has been done. There's no doubt about it. But the research on the long-lasting effects haven't. And it's very alarming that the legalization will put millions of Americans at risk to the long-term effects of psychedelics. And due to this unknown information, it is not worth to risk Americans to the use of psychedelics. Now, thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.